Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope all the students can listen to me.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. Hope all of you would be fine and you will be preparing for the first term exams that you are going to have very soon. So I'm sure you are doing at least study at home, you are doing some practice at home so that you can be prepared well for the sake of your first term exam and consequently for your term exams, final exams, pre-board exams and the final board exams. Our objective is to get maximum marks in our board exams. So that's why we are preparing regarding all aspects. Okay. So last time what we were doing actually, we were doing the chapter which is basically data communication. Achha, one important thing before going towards the today's lesson that I had given you one exercise. One question was there. Basically, it was an assignment that I gave you last week, and the assignment was there basically about the short question and answers. You are supposed to write answers on the paper and submit those answers to me via Google Classroom. Why? Because you are going to have your turn.
Sir, I have submitted you.
If anyone has got any question, then he will raise the hand. Okay, raise the hand, then ask me the question. I have muted all the students. First, you will raise the hand, then you will ask me the question. So, those who have submitted, of course, I can see from here. No? From here, I can see those who have submitted. For example, if I go there to the turn in, I can see 9 students have turned in. What about the rest? Why they haven't turned in? And today I think it is the last date. It is showing you the last date due today. Due today मतलब आज का ही दिन है बस आपके पास. अगर आपने लिख लिया है, written work कर लिया है, if you have already written in your notebook, so just take pictures and submit it to me. Okay. So if I go to the turn-ins, then I can see that some students just like Zain, Abbas, and Mujtaba Ajmal, Ali, Noshin, Zulkaf, Hiram Ibad, Amira Tahir, Usman, they have already submitted the pictures. So definitely when there are multiple pictures, multiple pages will be there. So they will upload multiple pages, of course, just like Zan has given the 7 pages. So I'm going to see one by one each and every page. I am going to check. Na? I will zoom it. Fine, I will zoom it and I will check what kind of material he has written. When I will find it this is correct. So then I will check next and next and next, and then I am going to give the marks accordingly. So those students who have submitted within the due time, I appreciate their efforts. Okay, they are doing well. Inshallah, they will be able to perform well in their first term exams. Muhammad Tawheed, you want to ask something?
Yes, sir.
Tawheed, you are joining after a long time this class.
Yes, sir. सर मुझे आप गूगल क्लासरूम का कोड बता सकते हैं?
Yes, note it down right now quickly. Note it down. See on your
Okay.
screen. See on your screen quickly. Note it down.
Okay, okay.
And it is case sensitive. Keep in mind, it is case
Okay.
sensitive. C is
Okay.
small, F is small, K is small, G, N are small. Don't
Okay,
write
done.
any letter capital. And other students who are not aware of the Google code, Google Classroom code, keep in mind your term exams will also be conducted through the Google Class. Keep in mind the term exams will also be conducted through the Google Classroom. Okay, the question paper will be delivered through the Google Classroom. Keep in mind this thing, okay? So those who have not submitted, they should write it down, write down the work today, and by today evening they should submit. They should submit today by evening, okay? So that they should get the marks for this assignment, and they will have a good practice of submitting the paper, so that they won't face any problem on the day of assessment when they are taking online exam. So this thing I think is over. This thing is clear to all of you. No issue is there. Now let me explain one more thing over here. It is about the how the question paper will be given to you about MCQs. See the example. I am going to show you an example of the MCQs paper. See the example of the MCQs paper. The MCQs paper will be given in this kind of way. This is another paper of another class, higher grade paper is there, basically. So what we are going to do, okay, you will write your name first over there. Your name should be as mentioned in your attendance register. For example, right now if I am doing it, such kind of paper will be there. So today I am going to give you another assignment. I am going to give you another assignment which will be in the form of MCQs. You will read the question. These questions are not for your class. These are higher grade questions from class 12. Anyway, I'm just showing you the example. I'm just showing you the example. Okay, how you will be assessed. The most significant impact of IT is, for example, I consider this is the answer, so I am going to mark that answer. In this question, I will read the question, and then I will say, for example, this is the answer, then I am going to mark the answer. So whatever the answer I will mark, whatever I consider, so I will mark the answer, and at the end of the page, when I have done, because this is a long question paper, over there in your paper, you will have only 12 MCQs in the first term exams, in the board exams as well. When you have marked these options, then at the end, you will see one submit button. You will click on it and your paper will be submitted. Once you have submitted, so you can't submit any other time because you have already submitted. So think before submission. When you are solving the MCQs, think before submission. Okay, you are sure about all the answers. If you have got time, if the time is left, so go through it again. Go through it again, and you can make correction in your answer. Now, if you are considering this is the answer and then you are considering no, this is the answer. So make correction and then submit before time. Yes, Mohammed Abbas.
Sir, before submitting, we can change our options.
Yeah. Before submission, for example, I marked this one now, and I marked this one. Now I consider if for 58, question number 58, let's suppose, I should mark this one. So I can. Before
Okay, sir.
submission, you can. Okay? Okay.
Okay.
Now this thing is very clear to all of you. Okay, the MCQ paper will be most probably in the online format, such kind of format. And it is easy, na? You don't need to write on paper, you don't need to take pictures. But for short question and long questions, you will have to write on paper and you will have to take the pictures. And then you will submit the pictures in this format that I have already shown you. Just like over here in this assignment that the students have given me. I have submitted me the assignments by taking the pictures. These are the pictures, and I will go through the pictures and then I will be able to give the marks. When I will give the marks, you will see that the marks will be, when I will give the marks, you will see that the marks will be shown in your Google Classroom. Okay? For example, I am just giving you example, for example, to this student, particular student that I have opened right now. If I give marks over here, and I will click on the return button, the student will be able to see the marks, how many marks my teacher has given. Okay, fine. Acha ji. Up to here, if you have got any question, please ask me, then we will move ahead towards the today's lesson. यहाँ तक कोई सवाल है आप पूछ लीजिए. Kindly ask me if you've got any question, anything that you want to clarify. This was the topic that we were doing last time. Last time we had discussed about the network interface card NIC, and we also discussed about what? We discussed about the switch as well. What is meant by a switch? What is meant by a network interface card? We have discussed about every computer has got this device, which is network interface card, which is essential device in order to write the answers. Okay, and in order to connect with the computer systems, as I have told you, when you will write the answers in your Google Classroom, it will be handwritten and then you will submit it to me. Okay, so everyone should be clear about it. Yes, you want to ask something, Mohammed Tawheed?
सर ये जो पेपर होने हैं 20 सितंबर तो कौन सी वेबसाइट पे होने हैं?
Most probably, I will make you sure once again. It will be in your Google Classroom, as I have told you already. In your Google Classroom. Okay? This is
Okay,
your
sir.
Google Classroom now. This is your Google Classroom. So here you will get the question paper for MCQs and question paper for short questions and long questions. For both of the papers, I have told you the procedure.
Okay.
But the MCQs paper will look like an online paper,
Okay.
just like this paper, where you'll mark the answer and you'll click on the submit button. And the short and long questions will be given in the written format by writing on paper, and then you'll take the pictures and then you'll submit it to me in the Google Classroom. Within the due time, after due time, the paper will not be accepted at all. Clear now? Acha ji. Now, the topic that we were doing last time. Now, please, data communication devices that we were discussing. We have discussed about this switch, which connects multiple computers in the local area network. It has got different types of ports in it. Okay. Now come towards the today's lesson, which is dial-up modem. What is meant by a modem? Modem is also a device which is used to make internet connection. Modem is used when we are using the telephone line to connect with the internet, because our telephone network, for example, in Pakistan, we have got PTCL, no? It is a telephone network. Similarly, in different countries, there are different public switch telephone networks. So we can also connect to the internet using telephone networks. Whenever we are connecting to the internet using telephone network, we use dial-up modems. Dial-up refers to an internet connection that is established using a modem. Modem is basically the device. So what you need to do, you will connect your PC with the modem, and the modem will be connected to the telephone line, to the telephone wire that you have got in your home. The modem connects the computer to standard telephone line, which serves as the data transmission medium. Basically, modem is going to be an interface between telephone line and your computer. Modem may be internal or external. Internal means the modem that you have got in the form of a card, just like inside card. So this type of modem, basically this is called internal modem. This is called internal modem. Internal modem. Why it is called internal? Because it will be used as a card, it will be inside the system box. Okay, but over here if you see, so the second type of modem is also there, which is called external modem. It will not be inside the system box, but it will be placed outside the system box. It will look like a CD-ROM or a switch. It will also have the ports. अच्छा, ये जो ports इसमें नजर आ रही हैं, these are not RJ45, these are RJ11 ports. These are basically the COM ports. ये थोड़ी छोटी होती है उससे. It has 4 copper wires. We had discussed about this thing in our chapter. in this chapter when we discussed two types of twisted pairs are there mainly. One is used for, one is small and one is bigger. Small is having 4 copper wire which is used for the telephone lines, and the other one is used for the network cable inside the LAN. Okay, so that's why this is the thing that we need to understand. Okay, two types of modems are there, whether we are using internal modem, तो अब ये अंदर लग जाएगा, ये ports जो हैं, the ports will be visible outside, और ये outside outer modem है, इसको हम CPU के ऊपर रख सकते हैं and we can connect with it. Now these ports are there in which in one port we are going to insert the telephone line. Okay, we are going to insert the telephone line, and then telephone line is definitely connected to the network, and we are going to have connection with the internet. Why we are going to have connection with the internet? Because the telephone network is connected with all the other networks of other countries. Why? Because you can make, very well, we can make call in England, in US. How we are making calls? Over the telephone line, because the telephone lines are connected with some means. So that's why we are using the telephone network in order to have internet. Okay. Acha ji. Now come towards this point कि when a user initiates dial-up connection, अब इसमें होता क्या था, ये हम use करते थे when we were child, we were in first year or second year class. So at that time the routers and these all things were not that much common. Wi-Fi was not common. We had a desktop PC and we used to use the dial-up modems. So when a user initiates a dial-up connection, the modem dials a phone number. Phone number किसका होगा? The phone number will be of an ISP, the internet service provider. For example, in Pakistan, we used to had a ISP just like PTCL. So we used to dial the number of PTCL. PTCL was the ISP. PTCL was providing us the net service. So then when the number is dialed, that is designated number, service number that you dial, and the ISP establishes the connection, which usually takes few seconds. और इसमें एक sound भी play होती थी, उसमें एक beep play होती थी इंटरनेट की ना, छोटी सी एक beep play होती थी, आवाज आती थी. Then we used to have connection established and the internet is established between our computer system and network. So then we could be able to browse the web pages. Then a connection is basically slow in nature when we are using telephone line for internet, because telephone line is not broadband in nature by default. Nowadays the broadband telephones are also available, which are giving you the internet connection with the telephone. These are broadband, but traditional telephone lines are not broadband. So what used to there, the websites having pictures were very slow to open, and the videos, we could not open the videos. The only we used to open the web pages having text material. So it was a slow internet basically. Now it is also getting a high speed internet because the telephone lines are also getting advanced by means of broadband connection. अब इसको अगर हम देखें, इसको अंडरस्टैंड करें, तो क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे कि वी आर कनेक्टिंग आवर पीसी विद द मॉडेम. मॉडेम इज कनेक्टेड विद द टेलीफोन लाइन. Telephone line is normally analog in signal. Analog signal is there in the telephone line. Electromagnetic wave is there. So our PC is digital. It is giving the digital signal from the NIC. So it is giving basically the digital signal. So what we are going to do, we will connect it with the modem, and modem is going to connect the digital signal into analog signal. This phenomena is called modulation. And when the other PC, which is receiving our material, which is receiving our data that we are sending, so again it will have the modem, and modem will reconvert the analog signal into digital signal. The analog signal will be converted into digital signal, and then it will be received by the destination PC, the destination computer system. I hope this thing is clear to all of you. कि basically modem performs two jobs, modulation and demodulation. Modem performs two jobs, modulation and demodulation. Modulation when you are converting from digital to analog, and demodulation when you are converting from analog to digital. Okay? But nowadays we are not using modems, we are using the routers. Router is basically the advanced device. Modem used to be there in the past, but nowadays we have got more, much better devices. So just like a router is basically a device which has got the capacity of a modem as well as the switch, and it is basically a good device in order to communicate with the network. Okay. Now come towards the next slide. A modem performs modulation and demodulation. Modulation is the process of encoding information in the transmitted signal, while demodulation is the process of extracting information from the signal. As I have told you in this diagram is very important. So as I have already explained you about it. Now come towards the router. Router is the device you are familiar very much with it. You have got routers in your homes, in your offices, in your homes. This is nowadays it is common device, and smart routers are there which are installed in our houses in order to connect with the internet, in order to connect with the network or of our office. A router is a networking device that forwards data packets between computer networks. Keep in mind, we are talking about between computer networks it is being used. Okay, so this thing is very important. Routers perform the traffic directing functions on the internet. ये क्या कर रहा है? ट्रैफिक को डायरेक्ट कर रहा है. It is basically, router is basically the device which defines routes. Route matlab the way, the pathway. Data sent from the internet such as web page or email is in the form of data packets. A packet is physically forwarded from one router to another router. Okay. Through the networks that constitutes an internetwork. So we are connected with the internet using routers, and different companies have got routers, and the routers are connected with each other. They are sending and receiving information, data packets with each other by defining the best possible path. It is one of the important tasks. It is the one of the important tasks. If I take a new slide over here, it would be much better. Okay, router defines the route for the traffic using a routing table. Routing table is basically a table in which it has got different routes. It has got different routes. So for example, on roads you will have noticed कि जब हम जा रहे होते हैं, if you want to go to school from your home, there are different roads available to go to your school. Some roads are lengthy, some roads are short. So what do? You go from the short distance. No? Doesn't mean that first you are going to the market road and then you are going towards another road which is not linked with your school, and then after taking a long route you are coming to your school. It will be an approach which is not sensible approach. You will find out the best route which is short, in which the fuel consumption will be less, your time will be reduced. So router defines the route for the data traffic using a routing table and finds out best possible solution. Best possible solution. Which one is the best way to communicate in less time? These are the routing devices. You know that router also needs power. One adapter is there with the router that you plug with the power so that the router may have the power. Router's transmission antenna is there with it, and you have got the router, so you may connect multiple devices with the router: cell phones, tablets, laptops, or even desktop PCs if they have got the wireless network cards or Wi-Fi service in it. So I'm going to show you one important video over here. The video that we were looking last time.
Because a lot of people actually think that a modem and a router are the same thing.
Okay.
But they are not. They are different with two separate roles on a network. So I'm going to explain the difference between the two. Now, if you want internet inside your home or business, you have to have a modem. A modem is what brings the internet into your home or business. A modem establishes and maintains a dedicated connection to your internet service provider to give you access to the internet. Now, the reason why you have to have a modem is because of the two different types of signals that are used on a computer and on the internet. A computer only reads digital signals, while signals out on the internet are analog. As analog data comes in from the internet, the modem demodulates the incoming analog signal.
Okay. Now you can see over here that the function of modem is being explained over there in this diagram. When you are sending from your computer, the digital signal is there which is being converted into analog signal. This process will be called modulation. And when the data is coming from the internet, it is basically an analog signal through the telephone line when we are receiving the data. So modem is going to convert it into digital signal. This is called demodulation. This is the function of the modem that it performs.
Out on the internet are analog. As analog data comes in from the internet, the modem demodulates the incoming analog signals into a digital signal so that a computer can understand it. And a modem also modulates outgoing digital signals from a computer into an analog signal as it goes out on the internet. And this is where we get the word modem. The word modem means modulator, demodulator, which is exactly what a modem does. It modulates outgoing data from a computer and demodulates incoming data from the internet. Now, a router comes in after the modem. Now, there are different types of routers. There are routers that are used in businesses and larger organizations, and there are smaller routers that are used in homes and small businesses, but they basically do the same thing. But for this video, we're going to use the small office, home office router that most of us are familiar with. Now, a router is what routes or passes your internet connection to all of your devices in your home or business. It directs it to all of your computers, tablets, phones, and so on, so that those devices can access the internet. A typical small office, home office router, like this one here, will have a built-in switch with multiple ports so that you can connect multiple devices using an Ethernet cable connection. And it also functions as a wireless access point so that wireless devices, such as tablets and laptops, can have internet access.
So what does it mean, K? The router, when you install a router, it will have the ports as well. Ports of RJ45, where you can insert RJ45 connector, means the twisted pair cable. Matlab you would have seen in your homes and offices, you can take connection from the router with the wire. When you plug a wire in the router using RJ45 connector and the other end in your NIC, in your card of the PC or in your NIC port of your laptop, and then you get the internet connection. This is the way that you can take internet connection from the router. You can connect to the router using wire, but you can also connect to the router using wireless media, which is called Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is also there in the router, and you can also connect to the router using wired connection. Both the means are there. This thing is now clear.
Now, technically, you really don't need a router if you only want one of your devices to access the internet. You can just plug that device's network cable directly into the modem, and then you'll be able to access the internet. However, like most homes and businesses, you're going to have multiple devices that need access to the internet, and that's where you would need a router. There are also different types of modems. Two of the most common types are cable and DSL modems. So depending upon what type of internet you're going to use, you need to use the correct type of modem. cable modems are connected to your home using a coaxial cable. Cable is typically provided by the same company that provides you with cable television, such as Comcast, which is one of the largest providers in the United States. And DSL modems are connected using a typical phone line. DSL is provided by companies such as AT&T, which is the largest provider in the US.
Okay.
Now, a lot of times,
Now basically there is a comparison of the router and the modem over here in this video. Okay, basically the router is there in order to give you the connection when we have got internet connection through a service and we want to have the connection with the wireless connection and wired connection. But when we are connecting to the internet using telephone lines, so at that time basically we are using the modem. Okay, so the routers could also have the function of modem, but its main function is basically to define the routes, and the routes are basically defined intelligently on the basis of the routing table. Okay, so these all are the things that we need to understand over here.
or forwards data from one network to another based on their IP address. When a data packet is received from the router inspects the data's IP address and determines if the packet was meant for its own network or if it's meant for another network. If the router determines that the data packet is meant for its own network, it receives it. But if it's not meant for its own network, it sends it off to another network.
So what does it do? The router will see the data packet which is being received by it. Okay, what kind of IP address is there? If that particular IP address, the destination IP address, belongs to its network, the network that it is dealing with, so it is going to receive that particular data packet and will send it to the destination address. If that data packet does not belong to this network, then it is going to forward that data packet to another router, okay, which is going to have that particular scheme of IP addresses.
So a router is essentially the gateway of a network. So here we have a private network with its router, and we'll refer to this as the red network, indicated by the red colored screens on the computers. And over here, you're going to have different data packets indicated by their different colors, which represents different IP addresses, and they are going to be entering the red network's router from the internet. Now the router is only going to accept the red data packets because they are the only ones that are intended for this network.
So over here you can see in this example, okay, the data packets for this network are shown by red color. Na? Doesn't mean it will be red in actual. This is shown in the animation in the red color. So our router will receive only those data packets which belong to our network, and it is sending you. You can see that this is a local area network when there is one switch as well. Na? So it is sending that particular data packet to the network accordingly.
So all of the other data packets, the yellows, blues, greens, etc., will be rejected by this router because they were not intended for this network because their IP addresses were not meant for this network. Now here is an expanded view of routers over the internet. There are 4 networks here, indicated by their different colors, and each network has their own router, along with their hubs or switches and their computers. So right now, as you can see, each network is just exchanging information within their own network. Their data is not going out on the internet, so they are not communicating with other networks. They are just exchanging data within their own network using their hub or switch. Now let's go ahead and exchange data between different networks. So let's say, for example, that this computer here on the red network wants to communicate with a computer here on the blue network. So for this to happen, the data packet has to leave their own network and go out on the internet. So the computer sends their data and it goes to the network's router. And once the data packet reaches the router will look at the IP address of the data packet and then forward the data out on the internet to the next router, and then make its way to the blue network's router, and then to the intended destination computer.
Now you can see
So in
this example, now you can see that how routes are being defined. The routes are being defined in this way. It is sending the data packet from the red network to the blue network. So the router will send the data to the other router, and the other router will see that whether the data is for it or it needs to send the data to any other router for which the data is being sent. And this communication is done so fast so that the route is defined in a proper way without going here and there and wasting the time on different areas.
This is how routers work. So in conclusion, hubs and switches are used to create networks, while routers are used to connect networks.
Okay, so what is basically the conclusion at the end? Okay, hubs and switches are there to create network when we are making local area network. When we are connecting our network to the internet with the different networks, so routers are defining the routes for it. And according to those routes, basically, we are going to have the communication between different sources, communication between the different networks. So this is how it is basically done. So it is basically a comprehensive, discussion about the two devices that we have covered today. Which device? Router, number one. And number two is the device we have covered, dial-up modem. And inshallah, this chapter will be over. And afterwards only some terminologies are there that we are going to discuss. So I will also give you one assignment in the form of MCQs, inshallah. Okay, keep in mind. Okay, I am going to upload one assignment in the form of MCQs. You will mark the answers as I have given you this example. In this way, you will mark the answer and you will submit me, so that it will be a complete demo. It will become a complete demo for your first term exam. Okay, how you are going to be assessed. So nothing will be new for you. So you will be familiar how you are going to be assessed. Okay. So I think these all things are now clear to all of you. Our class time is now about 2 hours. Abbas, you want to ask something quickly?
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Only for Allah Hafiz you have raised the hand, Abbas. Okay, anyway. If you have got any question from any of the chapters, you can note it down and just ask me in the next class. Okay? So that your queries should be resolved. Thank you so much, all of you. We'll inshallah discuss these all things in the next class, inshallah. And we will see that what kind of questions are there we are going to discuss once again. Okay? Once again, inshallah, we will discuss and we will take the queries. Zulkaf, I will take the queries inshallah in the next class. Thank you so much.